nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all. It's your buddy Big Johnny G, the Two Gun Fix-It presents Legendary Gaming. Tabletop Takeout Tuesday. That's what we do every Tuesday, because every day we do a different video. So here I give bullet points as to why I like, enjoyed, or really loved a particular title and game. This isn't a full review. Again, this is just points as to what I liked about it. And today, I want to talk about something that's taken me a hell of a while to get to the table, all because of bad, dumb luck. But now that it has hit the table several times, the wait, it was worth it. So why don't you join me with your capes and cowls, and I'll tell you why I enjoyed Batman the Animated Series, Shadow of the Bat. Now, this game, I gotta tell you right up front, Shadow of the Bat is a straight-up miniature combat game. And that's awesome. That's awesome because that is very fitting for something that's trying to capture the animated series of Batman. It was a very physical show, now wasn't it? I mean, he was the greatest detective, but it was a very physical show. So I think that is very fitting for this game, that it is a heavy miniature combat game. Now, because of this, one of the things that I really like about it is it's familiar. It really is. A lot of the rules that you're going to come across in this game are very common for the type of game that it is. And that's great, because that's going to help you jump right into this game. Even though the rule book looks big and complicated, it's not going to be. If you've played these kind of games before, then everything's going to fall into place for you when you're trying to figure out the rules. And that's great. That is something every game that has a complicated system of combat should be aiming for, I think. Now, although this doesn't reinvent the wheel, so to speak, when it comes to much of the combat and the system in the game, something that grabbed my attention that I really liked that I hadn't come across anywhere before anything like this. If you're familiar with another system that does this, please put it in the comments below so that myself and anyone else will be able to know about it. What I'm talking about is, and to me, it feels like this is how they are incorporating teamwork, right? Is that when you roll your dice, you're gonna choose a die to be your main die right there in the center space. But the dice you put on either side of that, those are dice that you are lending out, so to speak, or maybe more thematically correct, you're assisting during combat with, and you're giving them these dice. Maybe it's punch, maybe it's ranged attacks, it's movement, defense, or some sort of combination of that. You're sharing that with a player on one side of you, and the other die with the player on that side of you. And all the players do this, so everybody gets extra dice, so to speak, on top of the ones that they themselves rolled. And this is a really interesting and great system. Like I say, it really does, to me, harken like they were digging their talons into trying to get something that really felt like teamwork. Because you do see a lot of teamwork between Batman, Robin, and their allies and friends in the middle of combat. And yeah, this does a magnificent job of getting that feeling thematically across during the game. Now, speaking of thematically, visually, this game is pure Batman the Animated Series paradise. Trust me when I say this, especially if you have the entirety of the set. If you have everything that they came out with, the expansions, the stretch goals, all the extras, then this is definitely going to feel more like Batman the Animated Series, the game, period. Or maybe more appropriate, the experience. Because with what they've already come out with, it covers, I feel like, 75-80% of the show. The characters involved, the villains, the heroes, and that's all coming across in all of these miniatures and all of these missions that you get to do. And on top of that, they have an amazing hidden role aspect. If you're playing the Arkham expansion with Clayface, then somebody's not who they say they are. Somebody's really Clayface in disguise, and you got to suss them out before Clayface takes you out. So that's something else that they do, which is incorporated from the series, that really just grabs my attention. I think it's something that's going to grab everyone's attention, actually. Now, the miniatures. Wow, these miniatures do look absolutely amazing. Nowadays, it seems like more and more companies have better looking miniatures that they're coming out with. But setting that aside, these are still some great looking miniatures. These are the kind of miniatures that make me wish I had both the talent and the time to dedicate to paint these. Because if you see some of these painted examples, they're just gonna blow your mind. They look like they literally just walked off of the cartoon show. But that's with the paint job. But even without the paint job, these miniatures look absolutely beautiful. The way they're carved and molded, and the detail as well that's on them. They're very easy to tell apart, even when they're not painted. They're very easy to tell apart across the table on the board, and you shouldn't have any real problem discerning who's who. That means it's a pretty good miniatures. And I have a feeling that I'm not going to be alone in this statement. Playing the game, I can't help but hear that theme music playing in my mind in the background while the game is going on. It does drag you that much into the show itself. There are not many, there's a few, and this is a great example of when an IP theme, such as Batman the Animated Series, can be mixed with a board game to the degree that it seems like it was always meant to be. And if you want the experience of living, walking, running, fighting through the Batman the Animated Series universe, you're not going to get a better tabletop experience than Shadow of the Bat.